Peace, y'all. It's your boy Vinny Venom, man. The Commission Cypher, episode number 9. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing, man? How y'all feeling? Grizz, what's good?
I'm great. Excellent.
Producer T-Rav, how you doing?
Big chillin'.
This guy, big chillin'. That's all you say, man. Big chillin', big chillin'. Appreciate everybody tuned in, man. Shout out to everybody's support, man. We grinding. We still banging out. Episode number 9. Please don't forget, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. King Bow interviews up, doing some good numbers. Shouts to the Barber Lounge. My guys Larry and Marcus, they was here last week. That episode's in full, up now. Like, share, subscribe, comment, interact, man. This is the Commission Cypher. We talk about hip-hop, wellness, and everything in between, man. So another week, man. It's been a crazy week out here where we at, man, in the 505, the Q, man. Anybody's allergies messing with them, man? How you feeling out there, man?
You know what? Is that I don't get allergies anymore. I used to get real bad allergies when I was young, and I don't get them anymore at all. And
how? Why? Inform me, sir.
You get allergies? Oh, for real?
Bad.
I'm pretty sure I probably told you this before, but you probably didn't listen to me.
Probably.
Bee pollen, bro.
Oh, okay. You just eat it.
Local bee pollen. Yeah, you get that shit, and you just put it on your food. You could sprinkle it on some food, or you could sit there. You could even eat it like, just eat it like a snack out the jar. It's got to be local, and you'll build an immunity to, because all it is the pollen in the area, and it's all the pollen you're
right.
allergic to is what causes you to act up. And so if you get that bee pollen, you can ingest it, and your body gets such small amounts that it can build immunity to it, and you'll stop having the reaction. And so I haven't had allergies in like 20 years, bro. I used to be so bad I'd have to miss school, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I used to be real bad.
It's crazy. Like, I think the last probably 2 for me it's been rough, man. I hate people tell me, "Oh, go get a shot. Like, you go get an allergy shot, like a yearly type thing." And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna try that, man. Bee pollen, all right. Yeah, man, all that dirt and dust flying and shit, man. Jesus, man. 'Tis the season. You know what I'm saying?
It really is, bro. Everybody is suffering from
like, and I take black seed oil every day, so that helps. If I didn't take that, it would be worse. But still, like, I still get that lingering feel. You know what I mean? So, shout out to everybody who got allergies, man. Bee pollen.
Bee pollen.
Look at you educating us.
Bro,
My God, dog.
Bee pollen,
That's
or you could use local honey, but bee pollen is better. I would use bee pollen.
Where you get it at? Just anywhere?
Like, if you're here in Albuquerque, you could go to there's this natural grocery store right here, just right here on Wyoming and Montgomery. But like, if you're not in Albuquerque, then you could go to any like natural grocery store. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Yeah, I go to natural grocery all the time. I'll get that shit this
Put
weekend.
You on game, bro. I don't know how quickly it works, because when I took it, I wasn't doing it for the effect. My grandpa gave it to me, and I think he knew that it would help my allergies, and I just started eating it. I got to liking the taste because it's just a little bit sweet, and so I would just sit on the couch and eat it. And then I started realizing, like, I wasn't getting allergies anymore. So, do
you take it like every year? Is it like a yearly thing, or you
I haven't taken it since. Well, I'm lying. I actually took it like 2 years ago because I got allergies at the spring, and I was like, what is going on with me? And I was like, I'm getting allergies. So I went and I got bee pollen, and I probably smashed half a jar.
Damn.
Gone.
Shit, man. All right, man.
Yes, sir.
We in the Hydrobar, man. Shout to my partners here at the Hydrobar, man. Hydrobar.io is the website. Make sure y'all come to the spot. Get hydrated. I wanted to share something with y'all. I know in the intro of the podcast, we got this dope Hydrobar graphic. Shout out to the homie Kellogg. There's so much dope shit here in the storefront that I want y'all to experience, right? Hit us up on IG, Vinny_Venom. What's your IG, Grizz?
That's _Grizzly.
Yes, we're going to get it right this week on the caption. But anyway, I want y'all to definitely tune in and follow us and inquire about getting a free membership, because we want to spread the wealth. We want to spread just the word and the knowledge about, staying hydrated the right way. Alkaline lifestyle will keep any disease out of your body, right? No disease can exist in an alkaline environment. So I preach that heavy, man. Shout to Tim. Shout to the whole staff up here. We appreciate them rocking with us every week. So yeah, man, I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. So Grizz, what you got for us, man?
So we're gonna start off. I don't know. The fans know, right, or the folks watching. But we're coming up on an anniversary of DMX passing, right? 4 years.
Crazy.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like that long, you know. I just, it definitely doesn't seem like that long. But it's been 4 years, and so we're gonna talk about that a little bit, right? I think talking about DMX's legacy, right? I think he was a unique artist for sure, right? I think a lot of people have a similar opinion when it comes to, I've never heard anybody say I don't like DMX.
Right.
You know, like I've heard like right, absolutely.
Ever.
And I think one of the things that's impressive to me, because even last week when we did the barbershop episode, you know, we heard opinions about Jay-Z, right? Like, I don't really care for Jay-Z.
Right.
And Jay-Z is a huge artist and he's loved by so many people, but it's almost anybody you talk about, you could hear people be like, I don't really care for him. But in my whole life, bro, I never heard anybody say I don't like DMX.
That's a good point.
You know? And so yeah, I think you know, I think DMX had a crazy run, definitely had an impactful legacy, left an impactful legacy for sure. What about, I think, do you remember the time that you first heard Jay-Z? Or not Jay-Z, my bad, DMX.
DMX.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I remember it was a two-part. I think it was probably maybe the first time I heard X was on the LL 54321 record with Redman, Method Man, DMX, and Cannabis.
Okay.
So that record was crazy because LL and Cannabis were dissing each other on the same record. Fast forward, I'm pretty sure you remember with the Buck joint. Remember with Buck? I think it was Luda and T.I. It was all on the same record.
Yes, that's Stomp.
Yeah, the Stomp.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the same situation, but obviously years prior. But I remember the video, X, like, he just had this, like, I don't know, man. He had this look to him. I was like, it caught my eye immediately in the voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What did he say on that record? However it's going to go, it's going to be that. See that. Like, just his delivery was so different because you had Meth and Red on a record. You had LL, obviously, and Cannabis. They all different type of MCs, but X just came out there spazzing. That was probably one of the first videos I seen X on, and then I seen him everywhere after that, bro. Rough Riders Anthem,
Yeah.
the first album. The rest is history, man.
How far after that was the Rough Rider Anthem?
It probably around, I mean, I think Rough Riders Anthem came out in 98.
Because I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't even know.
You never heard the 5-3?
I never heard that.
Damn.
No.
I think, bro,
No, for real.
I'm going to put you on game. This is the beat pollen for you. Like,
Yeah.
that record's fire,
That's
bro.
it.
So at the time, LL was kind of in this, he's in this transitional period as an artist because, you know, people really loved LL, but he had the radio records, the girl records.
Yeah.
But like, we didn't really get LL like rapping in his bag at that time. So
Yeah.
then he did this record and it was a huge record for him. But it's like a posse cut. It's just a bunch of guys rapping. There's a tiny little hook in the middle of it, but they all spazzed on it. But the record was so popular because it definitely was a DMX placement, but it also had Cannabis and L going at each other. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I'll probably say around that time, 98. I remember, if you guys remember, X dropped 2 albums that year. You know what I'm saying? He dropped It's Dark as Hell is Hot.
He's the first
Flesh
artist
on My Flesh.
to do that. I think he go platinum.
Yeah.
2 albums in 1 year. You know,
Insane.
that's crazy, bro.
Insane.
That
Like,
is crazy.
his impact was so crazy because you bring up a good point from our conversation with the Barber Lounge, right?
Yeah.
I do hear a lot of that about, like, people are kind of iffy with Jay. Some people really like him. Some people don't really, you know, fuck with Jay. But X, I never heard anybody be like, nah, I don't fuck with X.
Yeah.
Like, his impact was
Bro, never.
insane, bro.
And you know, it's one of the things about him is that his opinions could be polarizing, right? He was definitely outspoken, and I think he gave his opinion. He called it like he saw it, you know, and that didn't affect the music though, right? Like, even though he was you know, super clear on where he stood on certain things or his opinion on other rappers and different people, his music, everybody could relate or could vibe with his music.
X was one of the only artists, I think, in hip hop and just music in general. Like, he could take you on a journey with his album. Like, you hear the pain, You know, for him being as a kid and being in the position he was, you know, obviously he had substance abuse issues. You hear the pain through that. But then you hear the aggressive nature, and then you hear the prayers in the end of the albums like that. No other rapper was doing that. Like he was so back and forth just in general that he was always grounded in his faith. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I remember I saw X a bunch of times in concerts, and I don't know if you guys ever seen DMX live, but like if you ever had the privilege to, but bro, like he takes you on a journey. Like you up there dancing, wilding out, and then by the end of you crying. Like you know what I'm saying? So he just had. He has such an impact with both of those records, and even his discography after. I mean, I know he dropped a lot of albums after. I believe when he passed Swizz Beats and his team, album. They dropped the Exodus album, which was insane. Mm-hmm. I heard that was actually like X was pretty much done with it, and they finally put out after he passed, and it's just a great album. You know what I mean? But I can't believe it's been 4 years, bro. I remember that shit like it was yesterday, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard it. I was in middle school. And I remember like hearing it, I think on the way to school or something like that in the car.
Was it the Rough Rider anthem?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And it wasn't no internet out back then, right? And I'm not, you know, we're out in New Mexico. It's a little bit different than New York, and it wasn't like super accessible to be like, so I thought it was 3 6 Mafia, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I was young, you know, and I didn't know he was new to me, you know what I'm saying? And I remember going through I had a bunch of their CDs, and I remember going through a bunch of them trying to find that song, and I was like, damn it, it ain't on there. And then I don't remember how I found out it was DMX. I think after that song came out, it wasn't very long before everybody knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I do remember that, and I remember trading. I even traded CDs. I think I traded like a Master P.
You used to do that shit too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I traded a Master P CD trying to get the CD I thought it was on. I was like, oh, you know, and I wasn't on there. But bro, I love DMX, and I think part of the reason that everybody likes him is his humility, right? Is he's not afraid to be like vulnerable. You know, or to be real, right? Yeah. Like I have these problems, I got these issues, and he kept it a buck since the day he came out, right? It wasn't ever like. You never have to guess, right? You knew. He wasn't on trying to put on no bullshit or like act like, you know, he kept it real. It was like, right? Like he was definitely open with his emotions and you know, his struggles and shit. And I think that was tight. And I think that's what helped people to relate to him for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. Actually, one of the other first records I remember hearing DMX on too when I was a kid. I remember, rest in peace, my pops, man. I remember I don't remember exactly where we were. My memory's faded, but he hadn't seen me in a while. So he's like, yo, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to go get you. So he's like, what you want? I was like, yo, I'm going to get some CDs or some tapes. Mm. And this is when Mace's first album came out, Harlem World.
Yeah.
And X was on 24 Hours to Live. Mm-hmm. And I remember that being another kind of DMX. I was like, damn, like he stood out. Like Black Rob was on that record. The Lox was on that record. It was a great, you know, another posse cut. But X really shined, and like, to me, when I look at him as an MC, I feel like people really didn't give him his just due when he was here, because every record he was on with people, he just smoked them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just that guy. Like he brought that energy, and he was just a force to be reckoned with. You know what I'm saying? And definitely missed, man. I don't think there'll ever be another slither of anything out there that resembles DMX. Definitely an artist people should do their homework on. He crafted really good albums from top to bottom.
And he got a lot of respect from you know, dudes who like Jay-Z, you know, and I know we've referenced him a lot, but like he don't write his music, you know what I'm saying? And I think he got respect from dudes like that, like Jay-Z, Eminem, and dudes who could really rap, right? And I think that says a lot, right? I've watched those videos of him battling backstage with different rappers. And shit.
Yeah, he was go at it.
He kills it.
I heard a story that he would just aggressively just run up to any neighborhood and just battle somebody.
Yeah,
it's like, yo, who won it? You know what I'm saying? And he stood his ground. You know what I mean? And it showed in the music. I think, man, for sure.
I heard a story. I'm thinking it was DMX, right? That when he rapped for somebody at the record label, his jaw was broken. Is that right?
Huh?
You hear that story?
I didn't hear that story. No.
That he was that his jaw was broken, and as he was rapping, like you could hear the the wires, like the wires, his jaw, and you could hear it breaking.
Oh wow!
It was break like as he was going out, like you could hear this shit breaking while he was doing it. But he was trying, so he wanted to get, he wanted it.
Want to get signed? Yeah,
absolutely. And so he was going for it, and I'm like 99% sure that it was him. I think I probably seen this in a VH1.
Documentary, something like that.
Documentaries, whatever they used to do on VH1.
I believe it, man. Like he just and it's crazy too to think that like DMX started. We think about the collective that Rough Riders was like. Yo, that shit was so impactful. For like the motorcycling crew, to the dogs, just the imagery of everything.
Do you know the history of that? My bad. Yeah, but do you know the history of that? Like
I'm not privy to
the motorcycle club or anything? I don't either. That's why I asked. Just because I rode motorcycles for a while, and I remember it was always a Rough Rider crew, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, was the Rough Riders that the label started before the bike club, or which one came first? I mean, I don't know.
I would assume it was probably a crew beforehand, and then they made it official.
Okay,
it wouldn't surprise me if it was in the streets doing they want to. Yeah,
sure. Okay.
Because I remember as a kid, man, I used to see them. You see them bikes everywhere, bro. Especially living in New York and shit. I be seeing people flying Rough Ride. You know what I mean? And then you hear the music, so it's the soundtrack to everything going on. You know what I mean? So you look at all the Rough Rider compilations. It's just. Yeah, his impact was crazy, bro.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, he don't get his just due. I know he passed, and a lot of people like to bring him up after he passed, but I think while he was here, man, we could have done a better job of saluting X and giving him his flowers because he was one of a kind, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I think part of that is that polarizing aspect, right? Where he's, he just says whatever, and he's a little aggressive, and people misunderstand that. It's not always a place of anger. It's a place of passion, and I don't think people always
he's definitely passionate.
Always, see it that way.
Shout to Swiss Beats. Shout to the X's family, and I know that I think his daughter was in Power, the show Power. She's in the show Power, and I know that Swizz. He did an amazing job. A lot of times when rappers pass and they drop them posthumous albums, you don't really get that feeling. Yeah. But my God, Swizzy, he did such an amazing job with that DMX album because you felt it, you know what I mean? And obviously X was, he produced Rough Rider Anthem, so you get that feel, you know what I'm saying? And it's new. A lot of vulnerable records in there. There's a record on the album. If you haven't heard it, I think it's the last song on X's Exodus album. It's a letter to his son.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, how he wasn't the best father, this, that, and the third. I think Usher's on the record, if I'm not mistaken. Record make you tear up, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then you put the joint on with Lil Wayne, you ready to go fight somebody.
Yeah.
So he just had that. He had that way of just being versatile with it, but keeping it authentic.
Yeah, most yeah, I don't know my dad. I'll definitely cry if I listen to that, bro.
It's
yeah.
I'm
gonna shed some tears.
It's a tearjerker, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned it here on this podcast. I said it before, like rappers provoke emotion from you, right? And a lot of the time, like there's only a handful of rappers that I can think off the top that give you that, where they can make you laugh, make you cry. You know what I'm saying? Make you get up and get hyped up. A lot of rappers don't do that. You know what I'm saying? And X was definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you. What are your favorite, let's say, top 3 DMX tracks?
Tracks. That's hard, bro. I say Get At Me, Dog. With Chic. That record's dope. It's probably one of my favorites. What song, y'all? It's mine. Fucking With Me, and somebody has told you about Fucking With D. I think it's like number 3 on the first album. I can't remember the name of the record. That's another one of my favorite X joints.
Yeah, Fucking With D.
Fucking With D, yeah. It was like track 2 or 3. That shit is so hard, bro. Get At Me, Dog. And you know what? I love Slippin'. Slippin's one of my favorite DMX records. So if I had to go with 3, I'd probably go with that off top. But there's way more.
Yeah.
So many.
You can't pick
it's
this.
so hard.
B.
It's so hard.
We Right Here.
Yeah.
What's My Name?
That's
Damien. All the Damien, like, that Damien trilogy, that shit gotta be one of the hardest, like, trilogies out of all hip hop. Like, that shit's so hard, bro. What about you, man?
I got
What you got?
So How It's Going Down. One More Road to Cross.
Okay, yep. That's
And,
another classic.
Let Me Fly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Producer T-Rav, what you got, man?
So it would be Let Me Fly for sure. What's My Name? And then it'd have to be Rough Riders.
Yeah.
I mean,
bro.
like, come on.
You got. Yeah, I thought about you including that, but
Not to be cliche.
no. Yeah, for sure. I think that
I try to stay away from that shit because a lot of people will say that, like, oh,
Right.
who's riding that though? How's it going
respect
down?
that,
Oh
but,
my
like,
god,
yeah.
that's
Oh, bro,
I mean-
I love that song, bro. I listen to that all the time.
Do you ever
Like,
notice?
today,
I didn't notice until recently. So I guess Faith Evans, she lays vocals for that record, but it never made the cut. But it made the video version. So if you guys ever go watch the video version, they probably fixed it now because everything's digitized. But I just remember like being a kid who used to watch Rap City and all those hip hop shows on TV. Man, like I used to always wonder like, yo, who is this girl singing on a record? It's Faith Evans, but it was only like in the video version. You feel me? Like it wasn't on the album itself. So sometimes you'll get like some different versions floating around. Like if you notice with Slippin', it's clean on the album, but no one can find a dirty version. I think Rock the Bells plays the actual dirty version, so it catches you off guard because you never heard a dirty version. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but yeah, that's a good top 3, man, for sure. Hell yeah.
Most definitely. And I think, like you said, there's more. There's a lot more that you could pick from. But they're all like, bro, I got whole albums, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite album?
Oh my God, that's hard, bro.
And then there was X for me.
Okay.
That's the one I'm going to go with. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, that's actually a great album. I don't know. I think it's the first one. It's Dark as Hell is Hot.
Yeah.
It's just that vibe, bro. Like, yo, Yonkers is a crazy place in New York because, like, it doesn't get a lot of recognition. Like, you're not from the Bronx. You're not from Brooklyn. You're not from fucking Queens, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
it's not a borough. What is it? I'm not
no,
familiar.
it's like they call it like the Forgotten Borough. You know what I'm saying? So it's between like the city and upstate. So it kind of sits like right between.
Yeah.
It's right by the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, it's not a borough. It's just like a neighborhood. But like Mary J. Blige came from there. The Locks came from there. DMX came from there, right? So it's definitely a place that's got a lot of talent. And I think it's that first album for me, man, for sure. I probably run it up with he dropped the album, I think. It might have been in 2006, but I think he dropped the album called Year of the X. And was it 06?
Year of the Dog.
Year of the Dog.
Again.
Bro, that shit is fire too, man. So he had, I don't know if you guys remember, but X kind of went away for a while, and then he came back in 06 and dropped that album, and he was working with Swizzy again. He had just did the Touch It remix with Busta. That was kind of like his reintroduction back into the game. And that album knocks too, man. That's a little underrated DMX album for sure. But I had to go with the first. What about you, producer T-Rav?
It would have to be that first. Going
You can't really go wrong with Flesh on My Flesh either, because I think that
at
was
all.
I think that was probably just as good. You know what I'm saying?
But like just the way that he like wrapped it up with that ATF joint towards the end, like coming out hot, like bro,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Great discography, man, and definitely one of those guys that he's gonna be missed, man, for sure. He's still missed, man. It's just I can't believe it's been 4 years, bro. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shit went by quick. I think let me ask you, so what do you think, or let me ask you, how do you think the industry's failed or supported him towards the end of his life, right? Because he had these problems, right? He had personal issues, addiction and all of that. Do you think anybody helped? Do you think do you think there was anything positive that was done for him? Do you think anybody looked out?
I mean, I'm pretty sure there was probably some people in his corner really rooting for him to be in position to kind of come back. And I know he had been working on his last album before he had passed. It's hard, man. This industry is it's bad, bro. Like, they love you when you're on top, when you're making everybody money, and then the second you have a slip up or you have a personal problem or whatever, they don't want nothing to do with you, right? Mm-hmm. I think X fell victim to that a little bit because I think the way the industry was built during his time is he's one of the heavyweights, so he was always relied to bring the cash in, and it sucks that at his height, you know, even if he was dealing with demons and issues, like, you know, I didn't see no industry helping him out. Right. I remember hearing stories for years of like, you know, him just trying to, you know, sometimes even tour and he's being blackballed being touring. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many different things that happen. And I think that leads someone to, you know, depend on drugs and try to escape. And I know he had some substance abuse issues. So I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people, you know, rooting for him and cheering for him. But I think the industry failed him because, again, the industry is just so like, what have you done for me the last 15 minutes? You know, they don't give a fuck about legacy. But in hip-hop, we got to change that shit because, you know, I think we talked about Irv Gotti, me and T-Rav, about, you know, a couple months back when he passed. It was like, you know, Irv was a force, man. Like, you know, and I know a lot of people swayed their opinion when 50, you know, him and 50 was going at it with John and everything, but it doesn't take away his contributions, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta give these people their flowers while they're here, you know what I mean?
Do you think, I mean, I say the industry, right, and that's a broad, you know, blanket statement, right? But do you think, what do you think is the industry's responsibility to an artist personally, right? Because like we work for the same company, and I think they do a good job of providing resources for their people, right? If they notice that you aren't well, you know, depending on who's around you, right? They typically work to try and find you a resource or get you help, or
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think these artists have a closer relationship with the people around them than I do with my, you know, manager or the people I work with, my peers or whatever. You know, some of these artists have managers who live with them, or who they're with on a daily basis, right? They got this like a group of people around them,
right?
And I think part of that is that this group of people is benefiting off of this artist so much, right? It doesn't, especially in today's social media landscape, it doesn't really benefit them to step in, right? Because if you're crashing out, that's more views, that's more, you know, that's more money, right? It's more at the end of the day, you're giving people something to watch, and if you're somebody in the crew, or you're somebody in the entourage or whatever, like you are probably going to benefit more off of the end result. Like, what do you think is the responsibility for the people around him? You think it should be like, yo, like this is a job, let him do his thing, or do you think? I think that happens a lot, right? Look at all the artists that have died from, you know, drugs or a shitty situation because nobody stepped in to say something.
It's hard because I think there's a lot of yes men involved on the industry side because, like I said, if you're not profiting, you're not making no money, they want nothing to do with you because they run it as a business. But I do think if there were resources out there potentially for X or for other people, I don't think that they're there because it costs more money to do that, right? They want to see you fall and rise up again. You know what I'm saying? They don't care how you get back up. They just want you to rise up again. And some people can't, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that shit. Like, you know, I tell people all the time that, you know, sometimes people deal with hardships in their life. They don't get back up from that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I think the industry should provide resources. I definitely agree with that. I mean, we got resources for our gig, right? So in case something happens, we do have resources, right? And I'm not sure nowadays how that plays into the field. Like, I know a lot of artists sometimes, they actually end up getting in these contracts where they got to stay clean, right? So I think sometimes maybe the label can intervene and say, hey, look, you got to be clean if you want this deal or whatever. There could be some more accountability. But there's also the flip side of that coin, bro. Like, how are you going to stop somebody from doing what they want to do? You know, if someone's an addict, I had to deal with this firsthand, bro. My pops was an addict. You know what I'm saying? So it was like seeing him go through it, like you see the one side where he want to get out of it, but you see the other side where he's struggling with it, right? You could provide him all the resources, but he might not want to take them. So I think as long as the resources are there for someone to take advantage of, I think the label and industry, they got their hands, you know, hey, we have these resources. Here they are. Take them or leave them. But it comes down to, you know, it really comes down to personal responsibility at the end of the day. You know what I mean? To a point. The shitty thing about being an entertainer, though, and I've seen it a lot, is that once you get to that yes man situation where everybody's just saying yes, 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 the first person that's the no, they're the first one to get the fuck out of there. So people don't say nothing. You know, they want to hang on for the ride. you know, and you know, I've been blessed in my situation where I don't have to be a yes man. I could say no. You know, there's been plenty of conversations I've had with Rim. Even more recently, it was like, hey, I don't think that's a good decision. Or yo, hey, you know, when Slay was here, it's like, yo, Slay, maybe we should deviate this way. Here, hear me out. It's good to have those people around you, because when you don't and everybody's just saying yes, 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 will lead to a Michael Jackson route. Bro, his own doctor was pumping him with fucking propofol. You know what I'm saying? So I think there needs to be a balance, and universally, I hope that, you know, the industry does have these guardrails up to protect artists. Like, I'm worried about Justin Bieber right now. You see that kid, bro?
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's been around for a long time, and he's made those motherfuckers a lot of money. And if he's dealing with some shit mentally, physically, y'all need to offer him help. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to come out of pocket and help. Because at the end of the day, it should be a business relationship at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're making money together, doing records.
I also think, though, that there's also almost and this is really shitty to say, but the fact that I think this, I feel like is probably true, that there are people in that industry and at the highest levels who wouldn't be upset if an artist passed away, because I feel like what happens when an artist dies, you know, their streams blow up, their views blow up, their catalog blows up, you know, that album release after that posthumous album, right, blows up.
What does Kiss say? You might find your favorite rapper swimming in the ocean. He be all right, though. Dead rappers get better promotion.
Dead rappers get better promotion. It's true. I mean, I saw that with, you know, you know, when X passed too, you know, a lot of people stream music. I saw it with Nipsey, and that shit broke my heart with Nipsey, is because, you know, I knew Nipsey when he was grinding with Steve Lobel. And, yeah, fill me up, brother. I knew Nipsey when he was rocking with Steve Lobel. And, he was grinding, bro. And Nipsey was out here busting his ass, bro.
Yeah.
And he was putting great music out. He was getting love. He was getting support. But, like, when he died, everybody was a Nipsey fan. Oh, I love Nipsey Hussle. His album's great. And it's like, we failed to give these people they just do while they're here. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, after the fact, they pass and the streaming number goes up. But here's my question. Who's making all that fucking money?
Right. Yeah.
Who's, you know, when a rapper passes or artist passes, do they have their business in line before they pass to make sure that they family set up, or is this cocksucker in the office getting all the money? Heads of the labels.
That's our next topic of conversation, actually. So DMX's ex-wife lost a legal battle over his estate and his music rights. So what that means for her is that she's not gonna be able to benefit
the benefits, right?
You know, from his music. And for those that don't know, DMX and his wife haven't been together since 2014, so it's his ex-wife. But they have kids together. You know what I'm saying?
He's got a lot of kids.
And so that should be around for his kids, right? Absolutely. And ex-wife or not, bro, like it should go to the ex-wife before it goes to a record label, you know? So I feel the same way. I think, you know, part of it is, I think, you know, it's personal responsibility, though. Like you said, it's not really up to the label to say, oh, we're going to make sure that in the event of your death, or, you know, like once you know, your contract is up, like, we're going to take care of you. I think they
encourage it, bro.
Encourage what now?
They encourage that death aspect in their artists. Like, I ain't gonna mention no names in here, but there's certain labels out here, independent labels, who will put insurance policies out on their artists.
Oh, no. Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because they know that artist is gonna be worth more money dead than they are alive.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
That, to me, is fucked up. Like, yes, you gotta take your personal accountability. You gotta get a will going. Like, I got a will for my kids, right? God forbid something happened to me. You know, my wife, my kids, they set up. I got a will, right? But who's to say that the next person doesn't have it? And if they do have it, you know, it could get complicated. You got a lot of kids, you know, ex-wives, this, that, and the third. My hope would be, so question. So she lost the battle to gain rights to the music.
Well, she lost the battle over the estate and music rights is what this says. So,
do we know who has control of the estate?
I don't know who has control of the estate, but everything from the article that I have essentially says that it's not, his family is not involved at all. Yeah. So, and that was another question, right? Do you think it's right for the label to profit off of his music without the involvement of his family, right? Without his family being involved, do you think it's okay for them to profit off of the music? And I don't think so, right? Because that's his life's work, bro. You don't. It's not everybody could rap, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, that. I don't know, man. It's just the way that music is created, and I think I understand how record labels operate. I get the concept of, owning somebody's music and things like that. But, at the end of the day, like, that's somebody's like like their whole life.
Yeah.
Your whole life experience goes into music when you create music,
yeah.
and when you create art in general, right? Like, those emotions are unique to you, and nobody else can do, like nobody's doing what DMX does, right?
Right.
DMX is not doing what anybody else does, and it's only made possible by the things that he had been through personally, and so I don't think so, bro. I think somebody's got to be involved. I don't agree with that at all. And I mean, it is what it is. It ain't like that's gonna make a difference, but for damn sure, no. I think that the family should be involved.
They have to be, and I'm not sure, like, if he had, the crazy thing nowadays, bro, that I see is that a lot of labels will sell off the masters to these big companies, right? I'm pretty sure y'all seen, like, Biggie's catalog just got bought out by somebody, right? For them to take their likeness and basically spread it across the world. But the crazy thing is that I would hope someone like Jay would come to the front. Jay-Z would be coming to the front and say, hey, let me try to help out legally or whatever, because the music, the rights, everything should be given to his children, in my opinion. The wives are a little bit different, right? I mean, I don't, not sure how that'll work, right? But it definitely should be going to his kids. And I do agree with you. I don't think the labels should be profiting off of that. But we dealt with this with Pac. When Pac passed away, who profited off from their fucking records, right? Interscope. We know Suge Knight didn't get the money because that motherfucker ended up crashing out and going to jail, right?
Right.
So it's like the contracts, these business contracts and these regular contracts are so fucking shady, and they're so detrimental to the artist. The artists never benefit from them, even in death, right? So it's just a shitty situation. And I think sometimes, things are planned. Some things are done, I think, behind the scenes to sabotage people. And, untimely, you never know, but it could lead them to death. And that's what they want to profit off of. All they care about is money. They don't care about people. It's profits over people type shit. So, but man, shout out to his kids, man. I hope they find a way to make that happen, because I think X's catalog needs to be preserved. It needs to be distributed the right way. And we're coming up on, believe it or not, in 3 years, we're going to hit 20 years of It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh. So it'd be great to reissue those albums and reintroduce them to the world and have his kids profit off of them. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
So
just to clarify, right? I'm going to preface this because I don't think we've ever talked about how this came about, right? Why I'm sitting here with you, right? This is Vinny's podcast, right? And he invited me to be here with him, and I've known him for years, for a long time. We worked together. But Vinny's from New York, right? Where are you from in New York?
Everywhere, dog.
Everywhere.
Strong Island, Long Beach, Queens. Did some times in the Bronx. Everywhere, dog.
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we became friends pretty quick at work. And we have a lot in common. We relate a lot, and this is my boy. But we always would come back to music and talk about music at work. And I think Vinny represents like the pure hip hop fan, right? The type of hip hop fan that listens to lyrics and really breaks down, that is very I don't know if I want to say critical, but very focused.
Precision, yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely,
precision
right. And I
angle,
think
yeah.
that's who you represent when we have these meetings here. That type of fan, and I respect that, and I think that's dope. You know, you have experience in the music industry, and I think we may have mentioned this in a previous episode. But you've worked directly with artists. You still to this day work with very well known artists, and you know, that's dope. So you have a very unique perspective and unique insights, and that's what you bring to the table. And I think that's dope as fuck. I'm just the guy that listens to music. Right. And I love music. I love all music. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily the guy. We've alluded to this in the past, but I'm the type of dude that likes to get in the car, turn on some shit I can nod my head to, and drive. Right. You know, I'm not necessarily concerned with the lyrical content. And I don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I'll listen to music. A new album comes out. I'm gonna listen to it top to bottom generally, especially if it's hip hop. You know, and that's kind of who I represent. Like the general fan of music, somebody who really loves music and somebody who likes music. And that's how we end up in these debates, right? Where it's like, hey, like, you know, he feels strongly about something, and I'm like, look, bro, I don't. And I'm gonna say this, right? The bulletproof wallets. It was something that we talked about. I think the first time we came together. Yeah. You know, and you and T-Rav, right? We're like, you know, you never heard, and I'm like, bro, and I think I mentioned this at work. I'm gonna say it. No disrespect.
I think you said it on the pod too.
I didn't say. What I'm about to say, I didn't say on the podcast. But what I said.
Views of Grizz Grimes are not on the committee.
And this is the type of shit I talk to him at work. You know what I'm saying? But I said, I was like, look, man. When I think about the music you like the type of music from the motherfuckers that put stickers in the bathroom at the bar and shit. You know, like. When you go to a concert at a small venue and you walk in the bathroom and it's fucking tagging all over the walls and shit, and it's a sticker on the wall of some artist, like those are the type of artists. I don't listen to that shit, you know.
Like, I don't listen to that shit.
You know, I'll try anything once, you know what I'm saying. But for the most part, I'm not you know, digging through crates to find an artist. Anyway, right. The reason that I say that is because sometimes. There have been times where I've watched this back and I'm like, man, I misquoted something, or man, I missaid something. I'm just a regular dude, you know. I'm just a regular dude who likes music, and the reason that I'm saying that now is because his ex-fiance and one of his daughters actually control the estate. Okay. I had to scroll through the article to get the actual owners of the estate or who's in charge of the estate or whatever. So one of his daughters has it, and then the ex-fiance. Okay. But that doesn't mean, you know, bitter baby mama drama. And that's probably an oversight on his part while he was here, right? Like if you got kids, you got to put shit in line for your kids. And so it is good that you know, at least one of his kids and the woman he was going to get married to, and it's not some dude in an office who's already paid. Right. But yeah, man, I think you got to think ahead, right? Especially if you're, you know, an artist. I think you got a high a hip hop or a rap artist, like you got a high probability of passing early, bro. There's a lot, you know. A lot of these dudes.
They say that being a rapper is the most dangerous job in the world.
Yeah, bro.
It's crazy.
You know, these dudes live a crazy life, and you know, it increases your chances of dying by like you. I read a statistic once. Is like your chances of passing away on your birthday are higher than any other day of the year, right? The chances of you dying on your birthday are higher than any other day of the year, and that's because that's partly because you're busy, right? You're all over the place. You're running around town generally. You're out and about. You're drinking. You're partying. You're doing things that you don't always do, you know, on any other day. But rappers usually live that life all the time. That's the day they live. That's the life they live every day, you know. Right. And so I think that's the case, and so yeah, I think as an artist, if you were somebody that does hip hop, or if you're somebody that raps or whatever, like you definitely need to consider having your death planned out. You know, you got to.
You have to. You got to line that stuff up, man. Because even just regular people have a will, right? Have something in motion, because God forbid something happens to you. You know, you need to make sure your kids, your wife, whoever you rock with, it doesn't have to have that burden. You know what I mean? So it's a shitty situation. But I'm glad that the wife or the ex-fiance and the daughter have it, because Like I said, we coming up on 20 years of It's Dark and Hell is Hot. They're gonna have to do something like a reissue or something.
Oh, most definitely.
I would love it. You know what I mean?
I think they will.
And us hip hop fans being consumers, we're gonna go buy that shit. We're gonna go get that collector's vinyl. We're gonna go rep for X because
You will. I won't.
He
You will. I won't. I'm just gonna stream that shit.
That's that. You know, I'm gonna stream that shit for free $99.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, right.
All day.
But nah, I mean, it's one of those things, and that's the exact point that I love that you made is that's that stark difference between But that's why we have you up here because, and the reason I wanted you up here is because I need someone with that vantage point, someone with that vision. You know what I'm saying? Because I wish I could just listen to the music and enjoy it.
Yeah,
but like I've been burned in my head for so long that, this is how it goes. You know what I'm saying? And I've opened up. I say over the last probably 5 to 7 years, no one listens to the new guys anymore. The old heads like me, I guess I'm an old head now. They don't listen to new shit coming out.
You're
Unk, I guess. Yeah. I listen to that shit because I know at the end of the day, there's gonna be some gems out of that bag of shit. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be 1 or 2 guys out here that are really dope.
You said it.
You know what I'm saying? It's true, right?
Bag of shit.
Bag of shit. There's a lot of shit out here.
A lot of them out there. All right, so rest in peace, DMX, most definitely. Our next topic conversation, Kanye and Akademiks. I don't know if you caught the interview.
I seen
this
it.
black KKK.
I watched the whole thing.
Uniform. What the fuck? Bro, god damn, what the fuck? I can't. Bro, I think I've said a lot of nice things about Kanye in prior episodes and shit, but I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a work. I think he's playing a character, bro. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys seen
You think everybody's in on it?
No. Here's my fear. Well, before I tell you my fear, here's how I look at it. Mm-hmm. Kanye is one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
Billionaire. Mm-hmm. Kanye is the type of artist, when he don't get attention, Kanye starves for attention.
Yeah.
That, to me, that's not the real Kanye, but that's just been the Kanye, I guess, that he's grown to be, right? So whatever gets him attention, he's going to do it. Whether it be a Twitter rant, whether it be he dressing up like a black KKK guy. Bro, tell me when I watched that motherfucking interview, T-Rav, I'm thinking of Clayton Bigsby from the Chappelle Show.
Bro,
I'm like, bro, what is this guy doing, bro? Because, listen, I stood up here a couple weeks ago. I said, yo, the Bully album, the new Kanye album is dope. I love it. I love the soul chops. I love everything he's doing musically, right? But if this is the way you're going to promote for the project or whatever you got coming up next, so I guess he's not putting the Bully album out. He's dropping another album called World War III with KKK involved in it, whatever the fuck. So he's doing all these things to promote for the album because he can't get on Complex anymore. He can't get on, these platforms anymore. Mm-hmm. Drink Champs, all these other spots. He can't get up there no more because they don't want him.
What happened with Drink Champs?
So if you remember, he did the Drink Champs interview and he says some crazy shit. Nori had to edit it. He put it out and he got a bunch of backlash. So he had to go back and take the shit down and re-edit it.
What did he say? I didn't see it. I didn't catch it.
I honestly don't even remember.
I think he says some shit about.
Is it like racist? I mean,
it's
I
like
don't expect you to repeat it if it's
he said
like
something
that,
he said whatever he said. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And they had to immediately take it down because I think it was. I think it had to do with the Jewish thing, whatever he's beefing with the Jewish thing. So he was just wilding out.
I think that started it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what started this thing. So it was Kanye's wigging out. But I just noticed that he can't go to Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. He can't go to Ebro. So he goes to Akademiks and listen, I think Akademiks did a pretty good job at, asking some of the questions. Yeah. He even called him out. I was like, bro, you kind of moving funny. What's going on? But I don't think Kanye has it in him to be like, yo, this is just a joke. This is just a work. He wants people to talk about him because he's got an album coming out. And this is his only way for people to talk about him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. No, you're good.
The worst. I hate these allergies.
But I agree. I think he's just it's always been like that. I know you said like the old Kanye, but you remember, way back in the day, it was like George Bush doesn't care about black people, right? I think that was probably like the first.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
on national television.
I think it worked so well for him.
Yeah,
that it kind of is like he's continued to do that since, right? And,
the Taylor Swift thing too.
I thought about that when I saw that interview. I'm like, the people who around him gotta know, because I feel like Kim Kardashian, she understands fame. Her mom, that family created a multi-billion-dollar empire from nothing. No talent, no, you know what I'm saying? And that says, and I'm not hating, bro. I got a lot of respect for that family, bro. They,
moguls, man.
Yeah, absolutely. From again, no talent, so they know how to. What they're great at is attracting interest, right? What they're really great at is generating interest, and so I think she understands. I don't know that she's in on it, but I think she understands most definitely.
Absolutely.
Right? I think he probably sees his kids behind closed door. I think he probably is able to see his kids. I know he's saying he's not able to see his kids, and that that his ex-wife has influenced them or some shit. I even saw that. You seen that? I don't know if you saw it. I might have shown you that text that he was texting Drake, and he was like,
"Oh yeah, you told me about it." Yeah,
he was like, "You've been talking to my wife or something like that," and Drake texts him back, and he's like, "I never even met your wife yet." And Kanye is like, and you never will. He tells him something, and then the next response from Drake is a voice memo, right? And I believe that he did that because he knew that he was going to screenshot the conversation, right? You can't screenshot a voice memo,
right?
And so I think the people around and at that level know what's going on. Like they know, like it's
they're in on it.
It's not. And it sucks the way that he's doing things because it's offensive to a whole race of people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's the thing. I say this about Kanye, and I always talk to the big homie Fool about this because he always says it too. It's like, it's not that Kanye's saying anything wrong, right? For years, this has been going on since the beginning of music. Mm-hmm. There are people in power who just so happen to be Jewish that will take advantage of the young black artists and rape their whole publisher, rape their whole deal. Historically, it's always happened. It's not always a Jewish person. It could be a white guy. It could be another black guy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a certain race. The premise of his argument is correct. These people are out here fucking with me.
Yeah.
If I was a billionaire and they took money out of my account just like that and they try to get my Adidas deal because I said something they didn't like, I'd be pissed too. So from that perspective, I agree with Kanye. Like, fight for that shit, because just because you got a difference of opinion of someone else doesn't mean you should be, chastised about it and kicked out of hip hop for it or anything like that. But I also think too, there's a responsibility that he has to have to be like, there's a line that maybe I don't want to cross, but I think he's so far gone at this point that the thing that's going to happen, which I don't want to happen, I think we're going to wake up one morning and it's going to be, Kanye West passes away because of A, B, and C. It's going to be some weird shit. Not to say someone's after him. I don't think he's got enough equity, like a Michael Jackson or someone like that. But there's obviously something. Somebody's taking something from Kanye. He don't like it, and he wants to fight back for it. So I respect it. But the whole hoodie, black, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What was your initial reaction when you seen it before you got into the interview? Before you got into the meat and potatoes and shit.
I thought of Clayton Bigsby.
Yeah. I think I thought the same thing. I didn't immediately, and I should have. I don't know who the fuck I might have thought it was, but I didn't immediately know it was Kanye. I just saw the outfit,
just saw like a picture,
and then I saw Akademiks, and I'm like, yeah, I saw it on the socials before I saw it on YouTube, before I saw the whole interview or whatever.
Yeah, because it was weird too, because like I didn't follow it like piece by piece, but I remember like the video came out, and I remember like I had saved it to watch later or something.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find it. And then like allegedly he wanted somebody to edit it. But then when the interview came out, it was just one scene.
Yeah,
like,
one whole
You
deal.
see him go in the hotel talking to him like, hey, how you doing? And then like he goes in the bathroom and changes. Like, so to me, it's just like he's playing a character, bro.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's wild, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think Kanye is being do you think he's being prophetic or problematic? or both?
Both.
Okay. I respect that. I fuck with that.
I think like I said, he's trying to tell artists, hey, look, shit is fucked up. Mm-hmm. I'm a billionaire and they coming after me. If you a mini person, guess what they doing behind your back? They doing this to my face. Imagine what they doing behind your back.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm not saying what Kanye's saying is incorrect because he's saying facts. But there's a way to address it, in my opinion.
What you say is how you say it.
Right. Like, has he gone to these executives and say, hey, like, I know he said something in the interview that got people mad. He was like, yo, Jay-Z got my music.
Yeah.
You got Big Sean's music, bro.
Yeah. Oh.
So,
yeah,
like, let's not, like, that's my issue with Kanye is, like, if he brings something up, it's like, brother, you doing the same shit.
Yeah.
You own a lot of people's music, too. Like, let's not go there. But if you got an idea that can change it to where you get your masters back and then you get Big Sean so where everybody can eat because there's enough money in the music game for people to eat, then come up with a solution, Kanye. Like, let's you got money. You're a billionaire. You have resources. Like, let's get to it.
Yeah.
All the shenanigans I could do away with because I think the music's strong enough to just be that. And that's my issue, unfortunately, with Kanye right now. Let the music speak for itself, bro.
Do you think Kanye West is a genius, or do you think he's fucked up in that?
I mean, name one genius that ain't crazy.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was a weirdo, bro.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury, weirdo, genius. You know what I'm saying? I do think he is. I think he is a genius for sure. I think he's crazy though, and I think money does that to you. I think when you get a lot of money like that, it fucks with your mind, bro.
Yeah.
You know, money's the root of all evil, man. So I think
I would like to find out.
I would like to, but would you crash out like that?
Yeah.
For sure?
I would not like, maybe not like that, but I'm crashing out. I'm crashing
What about
out.
you, T-Rav? You crashing out?
I'm crashing out.
Bro, imagine if you
For
woke
sure.
up with $1 billion in your bank account and it was yours. Imagine waking up and you check your account and it's $1 billion in there, right?
Yeah. I mean,
if you're watching, what would you do with $1 million?
Yeah.
$1 billion, I mean, $1 billion, right? What would you do? What's the first thing you would do? You wake up, you got $1 billion in your bank account.
I'm buying a jet.
That's the first thing you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Buy a jet?
So I could just go wherever I need to go.
Okay. All right.
Pull up on whoever.
All right, Taylor Swift.
I'm coming through, huh?
All right, Taylor Swift.
Nah, I'm getting a jet, dog. I don't give a fuck, dog. I'm getting a big ass jet, dog. Look
Who's
at
gonna
Trump.
fly
This
it
guy,
for you?
I don't
You
know.
gonna hire a pilot?
Yeah, I gotta hire a pilot.
Okay. And where are you going?
First spot,
Yeah.
Turks and Caicos.
Okay. I'm not
First
mad at
spot.
that. All right, for sure.
I don't know. I get where you're coming from, Nas. I think people with the money gonna crash out.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do whatever the fuck they want because you can't tell me nothing now. I got $1 billion. What you gonna tell me?
Nothing.
And that's where Kanye's at right now.
Yeah, it's a lot more that goes with money than just buying things, right? You can manipulate people, and you know, it's you can really move a lot with money without
Absolutely.
even having to spend it, you know, and so I think that has a lot to do with it because you get used to having your way, you get used to being able to overstep boundaries and
Get away with
you
something.
you get away with a
Hey,
lot.
man,
And
look
I
at
think-
Diddy, man.
I
Look
think-
at Diddy right now.
Yeah, it's a lot, right? It's not, it's not just him, you know. It's a lot of people in a position of power that have been able to, really just get out of line for a long time. So, I think that that's what's happening with him too. I think he's definitely a genius, but I think he's losing it a little bit.
You think we're gonna wake up one morning, like
Yes.
I said? Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. I think you get to a point where it's like bro, you can't tell me that every death of every person that said they're gonna kill me and then they died was just coincidence. Like that's happened. You know, with Michael Jackson, that happened. He's like, they're trying to kill me. I saw an interview with LaToya Jackson, and she was saying how he was telling her like, yo, they're trying to kill me.
Right.
And he died.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence.
Nah.
That's not a coincidence, bro.
Not at all, man.
You know?
You know what the crazy part about it though too is that I think that the people that are around Kanye, I'm sorry, the people that are going against Kanye, people saying, "Oh, you're being anti-Semitic and you're just hating Jewish people, whatever." Those are the people who have a lot of power that can make something like that happen. Because, like I said, they did it to MJ. I don't know why they would do it to Kanye. Because, like I said, he's just running his mouth. Michael owned billion, trillion dollar, investments. Publishing catalog XYZ. Like, what does Kanye actually own in that perspective?
Didn't he buy M's catalog?
I heard that too. I heard that it was because he disrespected him.
Yeah.
Because he
I
said
think
shit about him.
I don't think he directly owned like M specific public, but like whoever M was signed to, like Interscope Universal, he owned all that shit. Like so he owned all the Beyonce shit, all the Destiny's Child shit. Like any act that was coming out of Sony, Michael was collecting, bro.
What I don't understand is why isn't nobody killing the people that's killing the people? Mm-hmm. Right? Like the person killed. Like why is it? Like why can't Michael Jackson have no fucking money? Why you got to have the money and nobody's killing you? Like like who killed him? Let's kill him.
Right, right. No, I don't know.
What? I just don't understand. It's like somebody's got to have it.
It's the power, bro. These people in these high places got power, dog.
Who is that?
I don't know who they are.
Who is it? Lucian Grange?
He's one of them.
Yeah, bro.
Look at all that money him and his son making.
Yeah, edit that shit. Don't bleep that name out, bro.
I might have to bleep, but whatever the fuck. But yeah, Lucian and his son, bro, they got fucked. That's the thing. When you got money, you got power, bro. Mm-hmm. And for some people, that's all they care about is power, Doug. Yeah. Look at Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at Donald Trump as a guy who he loves money, but he loves the power, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know, man. Shouts to Kanye, man. Hey, listen, man. Like, I heard therapy's a good thing. I just want you to get back into the mode. I want to hear this Eric Sermon shit you got going on. I saw Eric Sermon did an interview, and he was like, yo, I got some... Excuse me. I got some crazy shit with Kanye. Thank you. Yeah. I want to hear music, dog. I want to hear the music, and that's it.
Speaking of, we got a Nas and Premier project.
Yes.
It's been a teaser. So some speculation and excitement around their cryptic.
Yeah.
Teaser, right? Can you? I think I'm gonna have to have you take this one over.
I'm passing that to T-Rav because he did all the research. So explain it to me again because I know you got your ear to the street.
Yeah. So Nas dropped this like promo on Mass Appeal on Instagram, saying 7 legendary artists, 7 new albums. And then at the end, they had this like decipher code, and they had a bunch of different dates. They all lined up with 7 classic albums. You had like Illmatic, Infamous, the story of Slick Rick, Only Built for Cuban Links, Supreme Clientele, The Big Picture.
Okay.
I think there was one other one.
And but for the folks that don't know, my bad, all these things that you're naming.
Those are all legendary first albums that came out for big artists. Okay. Nas, Slick Rick, Big L.
I mean, that was my second album.
Well, except for
And then Ghost is probably second album.
Yeah.
Okay. So from what I'm gathering, correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm guessing he's saying like all these artists are dropping new albums with Mass Appeal, 7 albums. That's what I'm getting.
That's the only thing I could think of.
That's crazy. So we know Nas and Premier putting out an album,
bro.
I know that's happening. Shout to Ian. Shout to Premier Ian. And then I know that Nas was in the studio with Havoc, right? So we know a Mobb Deep album's coming out because they said they got Prodigy verses that haven't came out. Mm-hmm. We talking about Ray and Ghost? Yeah?
New Ray and new Ghost?
I'm with it, bro.
Come on.
Yo, Nas is the only guy that could do it the right way with his label.
I mean, you had that Kanye run. What?
Oh, he dropped like 4 or 5 albums in like 2 months. Yeah, that was dope. Remember that shit? He dropped with the Nas album, the Pusha album, Tiana Taylor,
Cudi,
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dropping like an album every 2 weeks or some shit like that.
Yeah, that shit was fire.
That's insane, bro. I'm excited, bro.
Like,
I mean, listen. We talked about just a moment ago about the pureness of hip hop, or just hip hop from its essence. Nas represents that, and with him and Preem connecting, that's like like a hip hop dream right there. A whole album with them together, that's gonna be crazy, bro. Crazy. You a Nas fan?
No.
Are you a Big L fan?
No.
Ray? Ghost?
I look. All right. I I like If I Ruled the World from Nas. Right.
About it?
That's about it. When I think of Nas, I think of this. That's I know I can be what I want to be.
See, we had this conversation.
The
Like,
song
what?
I think
That's the
about
only
when I
thing?
think of Nas.
See,
What?
but like, that's a banger.
I worked at Roller King when
We
that
go get
song
this
came out,
flamethrower.
and I used to DJ at Roller King. And when that song came out, that song was like in constant rotation, and so
Fair.
I just remember that song all the time. And you know, I understand the contributions that Nas has made. When I say I don't like somebody's music, I don't. It's no way disrespectful to them.
Like
as
the
an
art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You know. But I don't. It just don't resonate with me. It's not something that I that I would listen to. It's not something that I would put in my car. I don't listen. I just don't listen to Nas. I don't listen to Big L. I'm gonna tell you something.
The
right?
Punchline King?
Let me tell you something.
Well,
That's
I mean,
Lloyd Banks.
That's Banks.
Lloyd
Yeah.
Banks is
But I
Punchline
mean,
King.
like, let's be real.
And I listen.
Big
I
L
fuck
was
with Banks.
Punchline King before Banks.
I don't know that.
Oh,
You know how many songs? You know how many Big L songs I've heard in my life?
probably 2.
Zero.
Damn.
Zero. I've
Shame.
never heard a Big L song in my life. I know I've heard of him from other rappers, and of course, you know, just being alive this long and watching documentaries and things like that. So of course, I know that he lived, and I know that he passed away at a young age. But I've never heard any of his music at all.
Did you ever hear that Jay-Z Big L freestyle?
What he said?
I said I said how many songs?
What you say
how
about
many
Nas?
How many Big L songs?
What
you
you
think
say
I've
about
heard?
Nas?
I said I don't. Nas is one of them stickers in the dirty bathroom. How many? Right.
Oh,
How many? Respectfully, how many Big L songs you think I've heard?
Big L songs?
Yeah, how many Big L songs in my life?
Being a casual
Just a
hip-hop?
casual hip hop fan, you know.
Maybe like 1 or 2.
Zero. Never heard a Big L song. You know how many I want to hear? Zero. All right.
go listen to the stretch.
hate
Go
you,
listen to
bro.
the Stretch of Bobito.
He doesn't really
Big
mean
L,
that because I'll put on a
Jay-Z.
Big L record and be like, yo, this
Bro.
shit tough.
I might like it, but I'm not, you know, I'm not looking for it. And it's no disrespect. I was telling T-Rav, I don't mean it in a disrespectful. It's not like,
No.
you know, I understand that these dudes have contributed to hip hop and what that is now, and they've paved the way for the people that I listen to. And nowadays, I fuck with that. I respect it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be like, oh, I have a Big L, you know.
You're not going to rush to like.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about him or his music. I don't
So-
know nothing about that. And then you said who else? Ghost
Ghostface,
too.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface Killer.
Wu-Tang, baby.
Or Ghost Styles P the Ghost.
I mean,
So pause and rewind.
I know.
So it is Ghostface Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan and Raekwon and Chef.
Bulletproof Wallets, Ghostface Killer.
Yeah. No?
He's a
Supreme
sticker in the bathroom.
Clientele.
I don't know him.
Sticking to this guy.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
I'm wearing Iron Man socks right now. Fuck
I'm
you
going to
mean.
tell you why I'm excited, though.
Hey, bro, I respect it.
So, I can't believe this.
Look, bro, it is what it is.
Nah, I
don't
love
know,
it.
you
I
know,
love it.
I like. You know who I like? I like. What's his name? Peter Guns, bro.
Peter Guns.
I like Peter Guns.
Out of all
bro.
New York rappers, Peter
I like
Guns.
Peter
I mean, shout out to
Guns.
Peter Guns. I mean,
I like
we like Peter Guns.
Peter Guns a dog, you know. I like him. I like that he's real grimy with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Shout out to Lord Tariq, man.
He got his baby mama
Oh,
living
you-
down the hall from each other and
You
shit.
like that, Peter Guns?
I like the Uptown
The rapping?
baby. Uptown. I like that song.
That's a great song.
That was a good time in my life. But when I think about like artists from like Mob, I like Mob Deep.
Mobb
but
Deep. See, they was on the list. They coming out with like. Think about this.
Peter Guns is relevant in my mind though because
The love and hip hop shit.
he's a dog.
Shout out to Peter Guns.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Um.
Mob Deep. What is happening?
Yeah.
with them?
So here's why I'm excited, right?
wait.
Just me personally,
Yes.
right? I grew up listening to all these cats, right?
Of course. Yes.
And the dope thing to me is hip hop's never reached that like status of like, yo, Kiss is still performing out here. The rock band Kiss, right?
Oh yes. I thought you were talking about Jadakiss.
No. Like, fucking the Rolling Stones are still making music. They still touring. Like, we've never hit that from hip hop, so I'm excited because Nas put out his first album when he was 18. Like 17, 18. Like, who's rapping like that at 17? It's insane, bro. So Nas is 50 plus, put out an album with Primo. Like, I want to hear all that shit.
Yeah.
Because he's matured now. Like, it ain't the same shit it was before. So I'm excited for these guys to reach that next plateau. Some of them, unfortunately, ain't here like Big L, rest in peace. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I don't know if there's like songs in the vault or what.
I have no idea.
But, hey, if Nas set the business up to where Big L's family can profit, yo, shout out to his brother, Donald. Salute.
Would you fuck with if they used AI? What if they got his voice, was able to get his voice to the point where, you know how they do that?
Yeah.
And they use, like, let's say, I mean, I don't know, maybe they had like a notebook of his with raps in it or something like that, and they were able to use AI.
I guess if it's done with integrity and it's not,
of course,
it's not a cash cow.
I think Nas is, you know, with what you know, like again, I'm not a huge fan of the music, but for what I know about him, he
loves hip hop,
a man of integrity. You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm gonna tell you like I hate to bring up Jay again, but he's been kind of a focus the last couple episodes.
You know,
but
you can't really talk about. He's done a lot for hip hop, bro.
Nah, he does. He has, but like it's crazy. Like you could tell that like Jay's a fan of this shit. Don't get me wrong, but I think Nas is one of those guys that wants to keep that purity alive. So yeah, I mean, if Nas is helming it there, I wouldn't be opposed to an AI type thing for Big L. And the same thing maybe with Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure how many records they got of Prodigy floating around on her verses or songs, but I'm with it, bro. Like anything that I could hear that pushes the culture forward from the veterans in the game. Like if Slick Rick's put out another album, I'm with it. Like I love that shit because it honestly, Grizz, it puts to me, what it does is it tells a story about hip hop being for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just a young man's sport. Like some of the GOATs who've been doing this shit for 30, 40 years can come out and set the game on fire. So I'm excited to see what Nas and Premier gonna cook up something crazy. I love to hear Cuban Links 3 from Ray, Supreme Clientele 2 from Ghost. I'm with it, bro. I'm excited.
Okay, I think that sounds like some dope for the folks that are
for my crowd.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Not necessarily. I'm sure there are people around the world around the world that are looking forward to that. So that's dope. I think that's dope. Break that. Who would that be? Like an artist I fuck with. If what kind of project? What level? Who would that be? Instead of Nas and Premier, it would be who? Like the way you see it, right? Like I'm this excited. Who would it take for me to be that excited?
Drake and Kanye do an album together.
Okay. Oh, bro. Wow.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, damn. Okay.
Now you understand?
All right, bro. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Now you understand.
I get it. Yeah. No, bro. That would be wild. Okay.
You got to realize too that like, DJ Premier and Gangstar, they had an incredible run from the late '80s to the early 2000s and even beyond.
Yeah.
But DJ Premier's sound cultivated really the East Coast. He's from Houston. He moved to New York, and he created, like, the New York sound.
I hear his name all the time, and I'm sure I've heard the music he's produced.
Primo's one of those DJs that are producers, but it's like a Dre. You hear Dre, you hear Dre beat, it's Dre.
Preem is to East Coast. He's the East Coast Dre.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you've heard... what's a big Premier record that
I mean, I would say New York State of Mind, but
yeah, I mean, the thing about Premier is that
10 Crack Commandments.
Oh yeah, you know the 10 Crack Commandments, Kick in the Door, Biggie, Kick in the
Oh yeah,
so that's Premier. So I'm excited though because if you look at Nas's career, Nas started Illmatic with Premier and he's worked with Premier throughout the years, but like them together with an album is gonna be something special. And Nas did some great work with Hit Boy.
I like Hit Boy. I fuck with Hit Boy most definitely.
That's where I think for you, if you want to, forget about the Nas I Can and whatever, like don't live in the past too much of the Nas. Go listen to Nas and Hit Boy albums.
Okay.
You'll be impressed, bro.
All right. I definitely like
Hit Boy albums is crazy, man.
King's Disease and the Magic trilogy. Going like back and forth.
Shout out to everybody at Massive Pill. I love it, man. Shout out to Dave East. I know he was up there for a little while. But I'm with it, man. 7 albums from 7 classic artists, bro. I'm fucking with it, bro. Let's get to it.
Well, I'm going to look forward to that, and I'll probably end up listening to it just because I'm gonna have to talk.
You're here now, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You in the mix, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna listen to it so I can prove to you that I don't like that shit.
I hate this guy.
Our final segment. Right. I'm not just gonna be like, I don't like that shit, and then you could be like, well, which songs you listen to? And be like, well, I don't know. No, I'm gonna listen to it, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, like nah.
No, sir.
Mixtape battle?
Mixtape battle.
Let's
All
go,
right.
dog.
This is the first one we've done, right?
Okay.
We're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah.
So we had talked. We've been talking about this for a minute, but we talked about doing a mixtape battle. We're gonna bring our favorite mixtape to the table, and we're just gonna battle it out, right?
Battle it out.
I don't know what mixtape you've chosen. You don't know what I've chosen. All right. What if we choose the same one?
Great minds think alike, brother.
Winner, chicken dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But we ain't gonna pick the same one. I know that for a fact.
Bro,
Oh, there's no way.
definitely not. I don't hang out at
So we're gonna break down kind of what we're gonna talk about with the mixtape, right? So we're gonna talk about the title, the artist, and then some of the things about the tape that stand out to us. Correct?
yeah, I'm just gonna smoke you. I'm just gonna tell you.
I see.
My the mixtape that I've chosen doesn't really need. I ain't gonna have to do a lot of talking.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna have to either.
yeah. We'll see if I even know. We'll see if I.
Well, I'll be the judge of that one.
We'll see if I've ever even heard.
So everybody that's watching live, how we gonna play this, right? Is we gonna choose each other's mixtape, and we're gonna continue this. We're gonna continue this battle until we get a. We're gonna have a scorecard and everything. It's gonna be 2-1, 1-2, however we do it. But I want the fans to vote too. So everybody on Instagram, YouTube, we want y'all to vote. We put these mixtapes up together to do a battle. Who takes the cake? So since it's my show, I fucking control the rules and all that shit. I want you to go first, dog. What's up?
Nah, okay. Well, you gotta tell T-Rav your mixtape. That way you can't change it when I say my shit. Because I don't want to say mine and then for you to be like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to change it up.
Nah, I'll show him right now. Who's fucking with me? Ooh. Let's go, Grizz.
I got one.
Hold on, I'm gonna change mine now. No, I'm just kidding. No ceilings.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with no ceilings. That's my first one. So
Why?
we're gonna kick it off with, because it's impeccable, bro. I think that's the epitome. That's like the quintessential mixtape Lil Wayne. It's got all the bro. Watch My Shoes, Swag Surfing, Wasted. Ice Cream Paint Job,
Classic.
all of the biggest songs from which is something that he that's what his mixtapes and most mixtapes tend to do is they take the songs from the the biggest songs of course, but Lil Wayne killed. Nobody is holding a candle to what he's doing on. It was over once he took your beat. All of those beats done. Those belong to him now.
Cooked. Yeah.
Those are his beats now. You know what I'm saying?
that was
All of
hilarious.
those.
That was
It's
mixtape Wayne,
not
bro.
one. It's not one beat that you listen to and you're like, nah, this ain't. They're all better than the original, all of them, right? And that's why I chose that one. That's why No Ceilings is the album or the mixtape, excuse me, that I chose for the battle. And we could go song for song, like a versus, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I want to know which one's yours.
So give me your standouts on that shit. Like if you were to pick the top 3 of that motherfucker to go against, what are we doing?
I think the first 3, right? Swag, the Swag Surf beat, right? It's called Surf Swag, Wasted, and then Wash My Shoes.
Man,
I think Wash My Shoes is probably one of my favorite. I mean, even that Ice Cream Paint Job, bro. I think I like them all. But those
it's a great pick, man.
Yeah,
that's a great pick.
yeah.
No Ceilings to me was. I'll put that up there as probably the epitome of what Wayne can do lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
No hooks. No, I'm just going ham. And that's what Wayne did, and that's what he continues to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't mad at that at all, bro. No Ceilings. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hit you on mine, Doug. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take you back to... What year was that, by the way, No Ceilings? Does it tell you on there? Or do you remember what time that frame that was?
09.
Okay, so that was 09. So that was like post-Carter 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Carter 3 was like
07.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 07, 08.
Okay.
You
All
might
right.
be right.
Nah, listen, I love it, man. I love it. So I'm gonna hit you with mine.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna take you back to the year 2004.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you this is at the height of mixtapes and the creation of how mixtapes were happening in the place that they started from, New York City. You feel me? No disrespect to Louisiana. I know they had shit on lockdown there
I
too.
record that shit in Houston.
Whatever.
But
I'm going with Jadakiss and DJ Green Lantern. The champ is here, baby.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This mixtape to me is in the top echelon of mixtapes, bro. You got Green Lantern doing the blends and the original production. We had the classic joint. The champ is here. The champ is here. I mean, right then and there, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that record right there set it off. Then he had all the freestyles. He was jumping on big records, Mobb Deep records. One song that'll destroy No Ceilings. One verse that'll destroy One Ceilings.
I already know what
40 bars of terror, baby.
Let me ask you something.
What's up?
How many times has the Jadakiss, the mixtape Jadakiss, been referenced in any song?
In any song?
In any song. How many times has somebody referenced the mixtape Jadakiss?
In what context? What are we talking about?
I know what he's saying.
As a
bar.
As a formidable opponent, as somebody who is respected, right?
I said it.
Like Jay-Z said, I might send this to the mixtape Wayne, right?
Right.
How many times has somebody referenced the mixtape Jay-Z?
Kiss.
Or fuck, we say his name so much, bro.
I know. We've been
I don't
talking
know
about
why.
Jay a lot the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks. I
I'm
know I
not.
did that.
No, you're Jay-Z's
Nah,
nuts.
listen.
No, I'm not even like Jay-Z.
Yo, Jay, let me tell you, if we were to do, if I would,
Nobody. You can't. You need that whole explanation because you just got washed up,
I got
bro.
you though.
you got him?
There's one thing. Kiss is Kiss.
Kiss is mixtapes, bro.
Like it doesn't matter.
Kiss
like,
is
like
MCing, bro.
Why do you have to bring up mixtape Wayne? Why can't it just be Wayne?
Great point. And I'm going to piggyback off that. Thank you for the assist, but you're not in this battle, so I need you to
I'm
step
just
outside.
saying.
But thanks for the alley-oop.
I get what you're saying.
Because I'm going to tell you, Wayne had great albums, but some people argue that the mixtapes was better than the album. Same thing with Kiss. Some people say the mixtapes Kiss is better than the album Kiss.
Facts.
So us having this battle right now between these two mixtapes is perfect. Because what it comes down to is bars.
I never heard anybody say Jadakiss was the better mixtape.
What?
Jadakiss. I never heard that in my life.
All right.
Right?
Hey,
I've
what
heard-
kind of
I've-
crack you smoking? Got
I've
fentanyl
heard-
in that bitch
I've
or
heard
what?
I've heard that Lil Wayne, the mixtape Lil Wayne,
Right.
right, is better than right. And so, look, I respect your opinion, right? But I think if we put a poll,
Okay.
up, let's say on Instagram, TikTok,
We gonna do
right,
that shit.
on the socials, right, and we ask the people watching this, I'm gonna vote from all 7 of my accounts.
Me too.
Yeah. Who you got? Jadakiss or Wayne? I bet you it's going to Wayne. No ceilings or this.
I think it's going to be a fight.
Hold on, let me see.
I think you
The champ is here.
I think you underestimating Kiss, though.
I'm not. Look, I'm not under. I just know Lil Wayne's ability. I just know the impact, the feeling of that no ceilings. You know what I'm saying? That.
I remember it too,
bro. It's not.
I'm telling you though, man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna put it to you this way. This is at the time where this is an interesting time in Kiss's career because this is before the 50 Cent beef.
Yeah.
This is his second album about to come out with Rough Riders.
Okay.
He's promoing it with the mixtape, and he's linking up with DJ Green Lantern, who at the time was a massive producer. Yep. So, like I said, the freestyles alone. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Forget the No Ceilings didn't have any original records. It was just freestyles.
Yeah.
So I'll do you one better. I'll take out the original records that are on Champions here, and just go freestyle for freestyle off of Wayne No Ceilings. Kiss knock him out. The champ is here. Let's go.
Look, I respect it. What is your top? What are your top 3? Top 3 on it. This 40 bars.
40 bars of terror is number 1.
Okay.
Professional hood shit.
Okay. I'm gonna listen to it after we leave.
Oh my
get
god!
Out of here. I'm gonna listen. I'm the first thing I'm gonna put on.
What was the other record that was on there? That was 40 bars of terror. And then the My Buddy freestyle with him and Sheik.
Okay, I remember that. I remember hearing that.
So the dope thing for me about the project or the mixtape too was that was one of the first mixtapes I think during that era where it was like overly produced. Usually mixtapes were just kind of like the records weren't mixed, they weren't mastered. Like this was a whole DJ set, blend in, pulling records back. Like people really didn't do that back then in mixtapes. Like you'll hear on the Kiss mixtape, we're like, yo, bring it back. You know, like you'll hear the verse again. So I'm going with Kiss the Champ is here. This is battle number 1 versus Lil Wayne, No Ceilings. Tell me what your pick is, man. Vote, comment, who got this one? And then we're going to tally up the votes and we're going to come with it.
Definitely No Ceilings.
I got you beat on this one, dog.
You're tripping, bro. I don't think anybody's going for that, dog. I mean, I'm sure you might get a few votes if your mom's got Instagram. you might get a vote or two.
I don't need nobody but me and my peoples. They gonna come out and vote for me, dog.
So all right, cool. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna give it a listen when I get up out of here because I've only heard. I definitely haven't heard the whole thing, and I haven't listened to it like I have No Ceilings.
And that's the beauty about doing this too. A lot of people listening, like we gonna have a debate about it, right? But there might be a mixtape that I bring up or that Grizz brings up that I never heard before. So that's how we share that musical knowledge. You guys go back and listen to it and get a vibe from it. So
we always talk about this. I mentioned it's been brought up a few times. Memory. What is your favorite memory, or what is a memory that stands out with that album playing, right? Or what do you remember?
I was in high school.
And
I just started working my first job.
Okay.
I didn't have a car. No one took me to work. I walked to work. And I remember vividly during that time frame. That was in my Walkman. That I think I burned that shit up. I played it so much. I knew every freestyle, I knew every verse. So just being able to maneuver through town, you know what I'm saying, see different things and hear that album as a soundtrack during that time, especially that summer. You know, it was a good time that summer, especially because you coming out of high school, going to parties, you know, summertime, you cracking up, it's out of here. That was around the same, I think Kiss of Death dropped around the same time Banks dropped his first album.
Okay.
So it was like, for me, it was Kiss and Banks. There was like the whole summer, that was a soundtrack. You know what I mean? Both of those joints.
Definitely a good time.
Classic era. But we out here, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Episode number 9. We're going to be back next week. We got some guests coming up. Shout out to my man, RJ Payne. Shout out to my brother, Saigon. I got some interviews that are going to be posted up with me and them here shortly. We got some guests coming through. Fragile Boy coming up here in a couple weeks. I got an R&B artist coming up. He's crazy, bro. He's dope. We got some people coming, so make sure y'all get in tune with everything, man. I appreciate everybody's support, man. We out. Peace.
Hydrobar.